understand this particular topic from the science perspective, where we talk about Earth, and Earth is basically having those three spheres available. In case you remember in the lower sections, I'm talking about something called as atmosphere, something called as lithosphere and hydrosphere. And this area where I've shaded, this is basically the biosphere. Bios, living. So the life possibility is going to be seen with these three spheres overlapping one another. When I say overlapping means it has to be present. All the three have to be present. We can easily understand that there is Earth, there is Moon, and both of them seems to be equidistant from Sun. That means the availability of solar radiation is also going to remain same. In spite of it, the planet Moon, which is basically a moon of Earth or rotating around the Earth, we don't find the life. It has got lithosphere, a thin atmosphere is there, everyone has acknowledged it, but one thing is lacking, and that lacking part is the water. Had there been water, perhaps we would have shifted a couple of our crores of people out there, they would have been living out there. But they are not living, the reason is very simple, they don't have water. So life on any place is solely going to be dependent upon the survival, dependent upon certain things. And one of that certain thing on which we are concentrating in this chapter is water. Now, which water basically we want? There is a saying which we follow, that imagine we think that in whole of the world there is just 100 liters of water. Why I am taking up 100 liters is to make you understand in percentage wise. Out of this 100 liters of water which is available, we have got is 97 liters available as marine or salty water. This means 97% is going to be going in this particular bracket. Salty water which cannot be actually utilized in whatever function you feel like, except for a tidal energy, for navigation. That is what we can do it. But for utilization, we cannot do anything. We can't even brush with it. Rest leftover is 3 liters. Out of that 3 liters which we have got, certain is going to be found blocked as ice. When I say ice, I am talking about those polar caps. Right? Polar caps or Himalayas or Alps where ice is present. This is equivalent to somewhere about 1.5 liters. Still I have got 1.5 liter in my hand. Out of this 1.5 liter, we are going to see to be demarcating into two sections, 0.75 underground and 0.75 is freshly available. We started with 100 liters and we ended up with not more than 1 liter. So it is not more than 1% which is freely available. That you just simply lower down a glass, a tumbler, and take out the water which is potable. So this is the situation which you have to understand, and taking this situation as a clue, we will be learning about water as a resource. That water which is not very abundantly found in all the corners of the world, but we are lucky enough we have got so much so available in India, and how we are going to utilize it. Clear? So what exactly is? The very first line there is mentioned is there is water, hence there is life. That means the life is not going to be present except there is a presence of water. So that one of those conditions which is there, that water has to be present for the survival of the any living organism, be it plant or animal or any other kingdom. whatever you talk about. It means water is basically essentially required. There is a word, essential. Scientifically, when we talk about the word essential, we are putting certain brackets for the words. And the bracket says, those things which cannot be compromised with replacement. What does it mean? Anything in case is required, it has to be that thing only. If I require water, I cannot have any other thing except for water. Water is required, wohi pura kar sakta hai. It is something like you require within your body hydrogen. And someone says, I have got water. Even it contains hydrogen. But hydrogen can only be replaced or compensated from hydrogen only. It cannot be compensated with water, which contains H2O. So, something which is required. And that requirement is done so because it is helping in metabolic activities. Thoda sa biological terms nikal rahe hain. Those are carrying out those metabolic activities that is going to be called as essential. What essential? Water is essential for survival. Essential means it cannot be replaced and it is directly getting involved in our metabolic activities. All metabolic activities. Your growth, your reproduction, your health, everything is going to be based upon that metabolism. So it is going to be taking part in it. And it is applicable to all living organisms. Least concerned about humans, everyone is going to get covered into it. And that is the main topic why we are learning out there. Without it, we will not be surviving. The prosperity of any nation depends upon its agriculture because food is going to be provided through it. And agriculture cannot actually function without water. Now, from here we get the next clue. And the next clue says that those who field of agriculture can receive water through two means. One is a natural process, another one is man-made process. In case I am talking about a natural process, I am talking about something called as rain. And when I am talking about man-made process, we will be calling the supply of water to the field as irrigation. Two words are there. Which is a natural source of water. It has to be rain. You cannot have any other natural source of water. It has to be coming through rain only. In case we talk about the artificial or irrigation methods, we have got so many methods developed by us, but they will not be functional unless and until humans are present to activate them. We cannot have it. So, consideration, it is necessary that water is going to be used sparingly. Point, since very young age you have been told about, when you are brushing your teeth, close the tap. Doing this, use little water. Don't wash your vehicles every day. You should not do this every day. Wherein water is going to get spent more than the requirement. The water is scarce, very less in quantity. Certain estimate says perhaps the future wars would be fought for water. The last wars we had fought, the great wars called as the World War I and II, it was for the land and resources. Other resources except water. But the present situation says perhaps the coming years, in case a war does break out, water would be the main reason. Apart from all the other reasons, fresh water. There will be certain countries which will be deprived of fresh water, and there will be certain countries which will have abundance of this fresh water. So perhaps clash might take place. Anyway, come down to sources of water. when I talk about sources of water, I have got as 3 sources available. First one we talk about is rainwater. Then I have got is surface water. And then I have got something called as groundwater. This was already told or explained to you while you were in class 9th, but through a science chapter, wherein various cycles were taught to you, including that nitrogen cycle, carbon cycle, and water cycle. One of them. So just try to memorize what is being talked about here is, I have got certain evaporation taking place. It is going to condense and it is going to precipitate. Come down on the land. Certain is going to flow to this area, which is basically the sea or ocean. Certain is going to get absorbed by the plants, again evaporation, and again coming down. It was something which was taught just a couple of months back when you were in 9th, in case you remember. So what is being happening? Evaporation, condensation and precipitation, this is rain, but has to be in liquid form. In case the form changes to some crystalline or some solid structure, it would be getting converted into snow and ice, but ultimately while landing on the land, it is again going to get converted into water. This water might be taken back to the original area, that is the oceans or the seas, and the cycle continues. Certain amount of water is going to get absorbed in the soil, percolate through the strata of the earth, various layers, and get absorbed, which we might take it out in the form of process called as well digging, tube wells, bore wells. We're going to take out the same water and utilize it. It might be again going into the evaporation, condensation and precipitation processes. And again the cycle is going to be there. Or it can be so that this water is going to flow through the rivers or certain ponds getting collected. We will be having the different categories. When I have the rainwater, the original source of fresh water on land, original. Imagine this process stops. One day we will be getting short of water and ultimately it is going to end up. And unless and until we don't have the rain coming back again and again, recapitalizing the water resources, we will never have the water again on earth. You say we don't want water, rain, it's not required. Fine, you don't have it. Why do you say? Because we have got a big pond, a big lake available. We say that there is lakes available, we have got as the wells available, so we can have it. But how much it is going to last long? Once you have taken out all the water and fresh water is not replenished back, can we have a continuous supply of water from the wells? No. It is one day going to end up. The rivers are going to dry up, the ponds are going to dry up, ultimately you are left with no water. So this cycle is essentially required. The point which is given out there is rain. The original source of water on earth might be utilized for objective type questions, which is the original source of water. Number 1 point. Apart from it, we are going to see rivers getting formed. We will be seeing the lakes, streams, small rivers. They all going to be there and these are going to form because of rain. This water which is flowing on the top surface, collected on the topmost strata of earth, we will be calling it as the surface water. So when I have got surface water, it is found in the forms of rivers, lakes, ponds, seas, oceans, reservoirs, you name so many things. Any place which has got a depression where water can be filled up, that will be having some or the other name where fresh water is getting collected. Got a small, it is oceans, smaller ones, seas, bigger ones, ocean. Small fresh water, we got lakes. Bigger ones we have got as reservoirs. Very small ones is ponds, rivers which are flowing, rivers which are very initial phase, coming down from the mountain streams. These are all those combinations. While it is traveling towards the ocean, we are talking about this passage. It has landed out there, rain has landed, it is now traveling towards ocean. Imagine there is rain in Saputara, the rivers have been formed, and these rivers are taking the water towards Arabian Sea. But while going, certain amount of water will be getting absorbed by the earth, and it keeps on percolating down. नीचे जाता रहेगा. कब तक जाता रहेगा? Up till it reaches a non-porous structure. Porous structure which allows the water to go, and non-porous which does not allow the water to go. So ultimately I have got a non-porous structure, some water, and the various strata of layer. Through it I am going to vertically go down in various forms like wells, tube wells, bore wells, step wells. There are so many names. We are digging vertically down in the earth and trying to extract this water. We will be calling it as the groundwater. So rain has come, it has started to flow, some amount is getting absorbed, and it will be called as the groundwater. Technically a catchy word. We will not call any water which is found above 3 meters to be a groundwater, which means I have got a limit of 3 meters. You have to dig the soil approximately 3 meters vertically down, and then in case you are getting some water, it will be called as groundwater. See, you happen to visit a coastal area, sea coast, and you just remove some sand. 2.5, 3 feet maximum you do it, and water starts to ooze out. You will see the water coming out on the sea coastal areas. Do we call it as a groundwater? No, because it is just the extra remain of ocean water. You try to taste it, it is still salty. It's bitter. But if you dig minimum 3 meters and then you find some water, it will be passing through the various layers and perhaps will be losing the extra salt which it has, and then we can have something called as fresh water. So the difference between fresh and salty water is that salt amount. And while it is going down the strata, it is going to get lost. The salt is going to get lost, and then we are going to see the water availability, and that is groundwater. Where exactly the location wise we find the groundwater? We need to have a flat surface on which, in case the rain does come, it should not simply flow. So we will not find in those hilly areas more absorption. We are going to find more absorption on the flat surfaces. We are talking about the area like northern plains. So northern plain receives the water in the form of rain, and it is going to get absorbed. So groundwater in India is maximum found in that region. There is a percentage given, 42%. So in northern India, there is about 42% of groundwater. And why is it so? It is a flat surface, porous surface, which helps in percolation of water from the surface to groundwater. दोनों में difference याद रख लेने. There is again a point which is mentioned that in southern India there is less groundwater, and the reason is we have got is the rocky surface. The surface itself is not very much porous. It is non-porous rocks available in the southern India, which does not allow the water to go down. If the water will not be going down, definitely it will not be coming up. First it has to get absorbed. You want to squeeze a sponge which is full of water, the water is going to come out. Am I right? But in case you have got is a dry sponge, can water come out? It is very simple, because there is no water in it. How it is going to give it to you? Same is with the strata. If the top strata, the top layer of the earth is rocky, it is hard rock which doesn't allow the water to go down, can you take out the water from here? It has not at all reached. How it is going to come out? Or in case it is going to be coming out, it will be in a very limited quantity, because the resupplying is not happening. Clear? Water resources and uses. And the very first one of the uses is irrigation. There is a particular point mentioned out there. About 84% of water found in India is usable. That means it is fresh water. We don't find a lot of Chilka or Sambar lakes. I have mentioned these two. These are lakes, big lakes, but they are saline. We have got a lot of water, lots of rivers available, and these happens to be fortunately all fresh water containing units. Khara pani nahi milta. 84%. Here there is an example given about wheat. Wheat we had learnt about requires approximately how much? 75 centimeter of rainfall. And this 75% annual rainfall is that location where the wheat can be grown. But in case you want to have 1 kg